Besties. In November of 2025, U.S. Marshals finally caught up with one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history. Not at a stadium, not at a training facility. In Dubai, after a 4.5-month international manhunt. This is a man who earned over $100 million playing football, and when he filed for bankruptcy, he told the court his assets were worth $50,000 or less. 50,000. Besties, grab your coffee because this is not a gossip item this seminar. This is a full documentary. The helmets, the frostbite, the shirtless exit, the fake vaccine card, the arena football team, and a diamond chain in Dubai that came back around in the wildest way you have ever heard. This is the downfall of Antonio Brown. Chapter by chapter. With receipts. Chapter 1. The Peak. For most of the 2010s, Antonio Brown was not just good, he was arguably the best receiver on planet Earth. 7 Pro Bowls, year after year at the top of the league in catches and yards. The Pittsburgh Steelers built their offense around him, and the money followed. Nearly $90 million in NFL salary alone, and with endorsements, over $100 million total. That is not my estimate, besties, and that is his number. Years later, he said it himself on camera. Quote, "I blew everything, but in 2018, nobody could imagine that sentence. He had the catchphrase, business is boomin', he had the contracts, he had the fame, and then, in the space of 1 calendar year, he set it all on fire." Chapter 2. 2019. The year everything broke. It starts almost comically. March. The Steelers, exhausted by the drama, trade their superstar to the Oakland Raiders. August. Antonio walks into a cryotherapy chamber without proper footwear and gets frostbite on his feet. A professional athlete. Frostbite. In August. Then he goes to war with the NFL, not over money, but over his helmet. He files a grievance to keep using his old, discontinued helmet. He loses. He files another one. He loses again. He threatens to retire over headgear. Besties. The Raiders fine him roughly $54,000 for missed practices and unexcused absences. He posts the fine letter on Instagram, has a screaming confrontation with the general manager, and in September, the Raiders release him before he plays a single regular season game for them. Poof, a $30 million guaranteed contract. Gone. And it gets worse. Chapter 3. 11 Days a Patriot. Hours after the Raiders cut him, the New England Patriots scoop him up on a 1-year deal worth up to $15 million. Tom Brady personally welcomes him. And 3 days later, his former trainer, Brittany Taylor, files a federal lawsuit accusing him of sexual assault. He denied the allegations, and the civil case was eventually settled out of court in 2021. But at the time, a second woman came forward, and after intimidating text messages surfaced, the Patriots cut him. He played exactly 1 game in New England. 11 days. That was the whole chapter. 2 teams had now paid millions to get rid of Antonio Brown in the same month. Chapter 4. The Moving Truck. January 2020. A moving company delivers Antonio's belongings to his home in Hollywood, Florida. A dispute over payment turns into an actual physical altercation with the driver. Police get involved. Antonio eventually pleads no contest to burglary with battery charges and gets probation. No jail. But besties. Write this down because it matters later. The driver, Anton Tumanov, also sued him in civil court, and that lawsuit ended with a judgment against Antonio of $1.2 million. Remember that number. It's going to show up again in a courtroom, a bankruptcy courtroom. Chapter 5. The Fake Vaccine Card. By late 2020, Tom Brady helps get him signed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One last shot with guardrails. And on the field, it works. He catches a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Antonio Brown is a champion. The redemption arc is right there. And then December 2021 happens. His own former chef tells reporters that Antonio, obtained a fake COVID vaccination card. The NFL investigates and suspends him 3 games for misrepresenting his vaccination status. A Super Bowl champion, suspended over a counterfeit card. And that, besties, was only the second most embarrassing thing to happen to him that season. Chapter 6, January 2nd, 2022. MetLife Stadium. The moment everyone remembers. Third quarter against the Jets. Antonio Brown gets into an animated exchange on the sideline, and then he takes off his jersey, his pads, his gloves, his undershirt, and he runs off the field, shirtless, waving to the crowd, doing jumping jacks in the end zone, into the tunnel, or in the middle of a live NFL game. Security almost tackled him because they thought he was a fan. His coach said after the game, he is no longer a Buck, and that was it. That shirtless jog was the last time Antonio Brown ever appeared in an NFL game. No team ever signed him again. Chapter 7, The Owner Era, 2023. Antonio decides to become a mogul. He buys control, a 94% stake, of the Albany Empire, a 2-time champion arena football team. Within months, players and staff say they aren't getting paid. Players get released. The league fines him $1,000 for conduct detrimental to the league, and he doesn't pay that either. In June, after months of missed league dues, the National Arena League votes his team out of the league entirely, a championship franchise, dead, in 1 season of Antonio Brown ownership. Meanwhile, in October, he's arrested in Broward County over more than $30,000 in unpaid child support. He posts a $15,000 bond and keeps it moving. The man who made $100 million, arrested over $30,000. Chapter 8, The Bankruptcy. May 2024. Antonio Brown files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in Florida. The filings say he owes nearly $3 million to 8 creditors, the $1.2 million to the truck driver, over $300,000 to a marketing firm, nearly $170,000 to a law firm, $83,000 in credit card debt, and here's the plot twist, besties, $970,000 to a Miami jeweler named Zulkarnain Nantambu. Why? Because back in 2022, at an exhibition fight in Dubai, the jeweler let Antonio wear a $122,000 diamond pendant and says he never got it back, and that he got thrown in a Dubai jail for nearly a month over the dispute before being cleared. A court ordered Antonio to pay him nearly $1 million. And the assets Antonio listed in his bankruptcy? $50,000 or less. The court didn't buy the clean slate story either. A judge ruled the truck driver's $1.2 million could not be wiped away, and the trustee accused him of failing to disclose where his property went. Remember the jeweler. One more chapter. Chapter 9, The Shots, May 16th, 2025. A celebrity boxing event in Miami. Antonio Brown gets into a fistfight with, of all people on earth, Zulkarnain Nantambu, the same jeweler from the Dubai chain saga, the same man from his bankruptcy filings. Prosecutors say that later that night, Antonio grabbed a security guard's handgun and fired 2 shots at him, one allegedly grazing his neck. Antonio admits he fired, but says it was self-defense under Florida's Stand Your Ground law. Either way, he didn't stick around. He left the country, and for 4.5 months, he was a wanted man with an active warrant for attempted murder. And where do U.S. Marshals finally track him down in November? Dubai, the city where the chain story started. You cannot write this, besties. Extradited back to Miami. Not guilty plea. Released on $25,000 bond, a quarter of what he once earned per game, with a GPS ankle monitor on house arrest, facing up to 30 years if convicted. The trial is expected before the end of 2026. So here we are, besties, from business is boomin' to a bankruptcy court asking where the money went. From $100 million to assets of $50,000 or less. From the best hands in football to an ankle monitor in Miami. The frostbite, the helmets, the 11 days in New England, the truck driver, the fake card, the shirtless exit, The dead franchise, the chain, the shots, every single chapter. Self-inflicted. That is the downfall of Antonio Brown. If this documentary shocked you, subscribe. Because this series is just getting started, and bestie, you will not believe who's next. Drop in the comments whose downfall we should cover, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah.